Today I want to talk about this Urban Meyer thing that's going on and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, I want to have a conversation about this Urban Meyer thing that's going on because I find all of this fascinating. So for you that don't know, the scuttlebutt is Urban Meyer is waiting on Clay Helton to get fired so that he can get hired as the head coach, the USC Trojans. Now, this is not, you don't have to look very hard for this because it's not really cloak and dagger. I mean, Leinart and Reggie Bush are openly trying to get Urban Meyer to take a job that is not available. And while that kind of reeks because, yeah, I understand not liking your guy, I would be for this if Clay Helton wasn't the guy. And Clay Helton didn't look like he was going to be the guy during the offseason. As a matter of fact, we went from thinking that Clay Helton was done and on fire in January, February of this year to watching him land five-star recruits again, like Chris Steele, right? Pick up Brew McCoy. Those guys, if Brew McCoy gets to be, healthy and whatnot, Chris Steele's eligible. You got outstanding players over there at wide receiver, Michael Pittman and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then JT Daniels goes down with the ACL, and you're like, oh, goodness. Okay, well, he was dead in the water to begin with. He looked like he might have had some life with these true freshmen that are coming through. And then he looked dead in the water again against Fresno State. And then Kedon Slovis came in and was able to keep things together for a win against Fresno State. But Fresno State ain't no Stanford. Now, Stanford didn't play with KJ Costello when they played against USC, but I had picked Stanford to beat USC because I didn't think that Kedon Slovis had it in him like that. And then, about halfway through the game, Kedon Slovis decided to unload on the rest of us and college football and say, no, Graham Harrell, myself, we got this. I'm going to sling it. They're going to catch it. Clancy Pendergrass's boy is going to play a little defense. And all of a sudden, you got a Clay Helton who is 2-0, getting ready to head into Provo, try to get himself a W. Now, they are a 4-point favorite against the Brigham Young Cougars in Provo. By the way, say nothing of USC gets both Holy War participants on the schedule this year. And all of a sudden, you're looking at them going, if Clay Helton was able to get double-digit wins, you can't fire him. And if he's able to get to, say, 9-4, you can't fire him. You probably might because USC is a dumpster fire. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm recording this, uploading this later, but on the day that I'm recording this, Felicity Huffman has been sentenced to 14 days in jail because she bribed administration to get her kid into USC. And it's not just her, it's a bunch of rich parents. And then you had Lynn Swann step down, resign as the athletic director at USC when his football team is 2-0, undefeated, top Pac-12 South. All right. Now you're looking at a new president who wants to put in her own athletic director. We'll see what her athletic director looks like, who that person is, and there's a lot to say that person might fire Clay Helton, right? And that is how Leinart Reggie Bush can come around to thinking that even if Clay Helton is good, probably doesn't last after this year. If he is awesome, let's say they win a Pac-12 championship, probably lasts until next year or the next year that he goes 7-5. God forbid 5-7. He might get. They had like 3 losses to start next year. He gonna get fired. But if you're Clay Helton, what do you do with this? You changed up your offense because Lynn Swann asked you to change up your offense. You fired Team Martin. You fired the offensive staff. You brought in Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury was on for a month, left for a better job. That is head coach in the NFL. Nobody blames him for that. Then you bring in Graham Harrell. Graham Harrell doing great things at North Texas. Comes in with the air raid variant, simplifies the playbook, says we're going to get these athletes out in space and we're going to let them go and run. And that's exactly what Kedon Slovis has been doing. Get the ball to those dudes that know what to do with it after the catch. And now you're thinking about bringing in a guy like Urban Meyer, who turned Florida State into a cesspool, who turned Ohio State into kind of a cesspool, and got out of there when, having his own headaches and his ailments. And I thought the man was done. I thought, yeah, the stress of being a head coach, the Power 5 level for as long as he's been a head coach, and in the way that he's been able to do it, having to compete at these places that expect to win over and over again. Look, I understand wanting to be an assistant athletic director for $100K, do the Fox Studio analyst thing, and open a bar and lead this podcast about leadership, even as you might not be the guy to talk about leadership. But you know what the man does know? He knows football. He knows his basketball on grass. He knows spread to run. He knows how to install an offense and hire a defense coordinator he can leave alone and build a program that can win, if not win under, the guise of all the virtues that we love. And USC apparently would care less because the Heisman Trophy winners don't. And I met them both. They're very nice dudes. I mean, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, you ever get a chance to meet them, very cool dudes. On the other hand, getting Urban Meyer back into coaching is one thing. Getting Urban Meyer into a job that is not vacant is something else entirely. And while this is college football and it's bizarre and we can totally root for guys to take a job that's not open yet, look, when I was doing the thing where I'm calling for Mike Stoops' gig, I'm calling for Mike Stoops' gig. I want Mike Stoops out. I'm not saying who I want in before I want him out. I just want him out, right? So open the job and then tell me about Urban Meyer. But the job ain't open right now. So, and also, again, when I'm yelling about Mike Stoops, you're losing games defensively that you're not supposed to be losing. And maybe you're a USC fan that's just out on Clay Helton and you're just done with all of this, but you're also 2-0. And let's let him take a bad L or a couple of bad L's and then get him out of Dodge. But I find it fascinating that we want to get Urban Meyer back into college football coaching again, even as this is the guy that's, connected to Zach Smith. Okay? This is a guy for which Andy Staples had a spreadsheet. I think it was Andy Staples. A Gators reporter had a spreadsheet about who the guys were that were arrested, caught charges while they were still in Florida. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't have their own issues and everybody doesn't have a roster that is full of, angels and whatnot. I am saying that Urban Meyer perhaps is not the guy to get things restarted at USC in the way that you want until he might have to leave in a few years. Might bring you a national championship, though, because he did that at Florida. He did that at Ohio State. And he would have the tools at his disposal to do that at USC, to say nothing of California as a recruiting ground. My goodness, he could be lethal as a head coach. I just find this fascinating, and I want to discuss it right here, right now. All right, that's it for me. That was this.